Hello, everyone. I'm Brenda, the copywriter.
I'm Ksenia, art direction.
And Mariam, I'm an art director.
And I'm Andres, the strategist. So we have Schweppes. We started doing a little background research, and we found that Schweppes lacks relevance in the market. I mean, nobody's talking about Schweppes. We find that they are not positioned like in the top bottled sparkling sellers. And we also did in the Google thing, we looked for it, and it's this one. And you can see the blue one is Schweppes, so nobody's looking for it on Google compared to its competitors. We were given two tasks. Well, the market objective, which was make Schweppes stand out and become the sparkling water of choice among water sparkling users and new users, and position it as an accessible premium brand in the sparkling water market. So these are our top three competitors. I mean, they are not like the top competitors in the sparkling water market, just the ones that we found that are positioned as premium accessible. We found Dasani, which they use like perfection and sparkling. They use like bubbles, sparkling bubbles all the time in their communications. We found La Croix, which is mainly on Instagram. They base like what they do there. They don't invest in big TV ads. They target micro-influencers, which are people who are already in love with the brand. They send presents to them. They retweet every picture they upload with a can of La Croix, etc. And for sparkling ice, it's all about flavor. They really talk about it, and their slogan is "Find your flavor." We also did this analysis of the presence in every social media. Well, in this top three social media, we found that La Croix, well, like I told you before, dominates Instagram, and Sparkling Ice dominates Twitter and Facebook. We found two things here. Schweppes don't have a US like Twitter page, not for sparkling water, not for the brand in general. So that's an opportunity. And we also found that in Facebook is the one that they are more like equal. So we already have like a representative fan base, so we can use that channel as well. This is how it currently looks. This is how they position it today, elevate your everyday. And if you see the pages, you will find that they talk like about the brand in general, like gin tonic water and club soda, but not sparkling water. So we decided to target this audience. They are struggling to be healthy. Who are they? Well, they don't like to eat salad. They know they have to, but they'd rather have a burrito or a pizza. They are pro flavor. They don't like tasteless things. They join a gym, but they hardly stick to it. Like, fun fact, only 18% of people who buy gym memberships use them consistently. They know junk food is bad. They know that Sprite and Pepsi is bad for them, but they just don't like the alternatives. Every day is a struggle for them to be like eating healthy.
Right, so, sorry, almost died here. PI suit. Anyways, so how do they feel about water, right? So we did some investigation online and see what they're saying about it on the digital sphere, right? So as you see here, I would rather die of dehydration than drink this garbage water, etc. Like, not much positive perceptions of the brand, or about water, as a matter of fact. So when we think of Schweppes, right, so we asked some people, hey guys, what do you think of Schweppes when it comes to your mind? Like, what are some words that you associate with this brand? They're like, well, it's like funky, it's difficult, you can't really find it anywhere, it's like tasteless. Like, these are the perceptions, the American perception of the brand, right? So we want to position Schweppes when someone asks you, hey, what do you think of Schweppes? Like, what's our brand identity? You're like, well, it's an interesting brand. It's sophisticated. It's irreplaceable. So our campaign is going to attempt to position it in this, this colorful language and this colorful perception when it comes to people's minds.
Okay, do you like what you just tasted?
No, it reminds me of medicine like Alka-Seltzer. Yeah,
No?
I don't like it.
Okay.
Right, so this is some primary research we conducted. This is Shannon. This is some of her feedback regarding the product, tasting Schweppes. We also...
Try it and just let us know what you think. Do you like it?
I would like it if I put a little lemon or orange or lime.
So we're gonna make you try something and just let us know what you think.
It's Schweppes sparkling water.
It tastes like nothing.
Okay, perfect. So you saw everyone's reactions, you saw what we found online, and then we all came down to like this boiling point of an insight. Some people find water boring because it tastes like nothing. Our consumers, they want to have, you know, a healthy alternative that doesn't make them gain weight, but when they think of things that they're tasteless, or automatically think to their minds that it's boring, it's not something that I want to try. So our strategic idea becomes to make Schweppes interesting. Show our struggling target that Schweppes might still be water, but with something extra, you know, like a hidden agenda. So our creative idea becomes nothing but interesting. Yes, consumer, you still have 0 calories, 0 this, 0 everything, but you have flavor and bubbles. It's not just water, it's more than water, it's sparkling water. So it's positioning Schweppes from this distasteful product perception to this interesting, sophisticated connotation in their minds.
So now this is our strategy for the social media. And as Andreas mentioned, Facebook is a big opportunity. So we're going to use Facebook, as you see, for awareness, conversation, engagement, transaction, and continuity. We also have radio, and we're going to use the influencers for the awareness and the engagement and for continuation. Just for the awareness and engagement, and the radio is also for awareness. Twitter is mainly used for conversation and engagement. And we're gonna also have like transaction through social media somehow, or promotional in a way. Our content pillars, or the stuff that we want to stress and talk about, mainly is the brand, which is Schweppes. But as you have seen in the previous, like their current presence on social media is only focused on the bottle or only focused on the brand. And there isn't any emotional engagement or anything like that. And here where our role will come. And we're going to talk about how nothing can be really interesting. We're going to talk about also how the struggles of being healthy, or like your daily struggles and all that. And finally, we're going to talk about taste, but taste is like the least amount of content that we're going to tackle.
Okay, so our influencers. I don't know if you guys live under a rock, but this is Amy Schumer. She's like a big deal. Some people don't like her because she has like awful comedy and she steals jokes, but we think she's a good fit. Why? She's funny, she's struggling to be fit, she works with a brand, and she has a hell of a good social media reach. It's 5.7 million. It would do wonders for Schweppes. Teber is an Instagram account that we particularly find pleasing because our idea deals with minimalism and how nothing can be translated into something aesthetically pleasing, and they do a great job on their social media presence, so we can build off that aesthetic with our idea. Joshua Becker is a minimalist. He left his like big job at like Wall Street making like millions of dollars each year because he's like that guy. And he became the author of More of Less, also works in line with our idea, which is nothing but interesting, the idea of minimalism conveyed in a very interesting sphere. So he's blog post worthy, meaning that we can create content, organic content that, that they can write about in terms of our creative idea. And Amazon Fresh Amazon just launched Amazon Fresh, and we noticed that Schweppes wasn't there. So it'd be a great opportunity for Amazon Fresh to partner with Schweppes and jump on the growth that's been seen recently with online shopping. It's a good market to be a part of and be placed alongside their competitors. So this would be a good strategic tactic to employ.
And I also want to add that we try to find the can everywhere, and it's really rare to find it. We just only found it in Walgreens, and this is where we thought of also like the online shopping alternative.
So this is our radio spot.
This is what nothing sounds like. This is what nothing sounds like when it's interesting. If you can't tell the difference, something is seriously wrong with you. Seriously, you have a problem. You need help, our help, because you deserve nothing except Schweppes sparkling water. It's nothing but interesting. It has 0 this, 0 calories, 0 that, and flavors, interesting flavors. If that isn't interesting, you still have a problem, and we can't help you.
We have 15 seconds video for social media, and it's for awareness, basically to introduce the product. Play it again. And for a post, we have 3 gifts. The idea is like we take masterpieces, which are basically about nothing. The first one is a piano piece by John Cage. It's called 433, and it's 4 minutes 33 seconds of silence. It became very famous, and somebody finds something amazing. So yes, in the one post, and this is how it looks on social media with a copy. The second one is about Black Square by Malevich. Just go next. Go next. And this is how it looks on social media. Go next. And this one is Space Odyssey, Stanley Kubrick. This one is for Facebook. Yeah, basically how it looks. And we have 3 prints also with the same idea. So this is like those are the quotes of famous people about nothing.
Here's our tactical plan. So we're going to use the print for strategic placement, and we have 2 phases in this year: awareness and engagement. So our print is going to be used for awareness. We're going to launch our radio also for awareness on Spotify. For the tweets, we're going to do promoted tweets. And Facebook, because it's still at the beginning, it's going to be like sponsored posts, not organic. For Instagram, we're aiming 1 to 3 posts daily. and we're going to launch our partnership with Amazon. And then later in the engagement, we're going to focus more on the social media and its ongoing campaign. And this is how we're going to measure our campaign success. And it's by the increase of number of sales, because we partner with an online shopping, so we want to see if this has increased the number of sales. By the percentage of online engagement and feedback and impressions and CTRs. We're also by the number of promotional downloads and of course the increase of page likes. That's it.
Thank you guys. That was great. Kudos to you guys for taking advice from last week, and I appreciate the research, the primary research that you did. The target description, I think you, Andres, you did a great job, or the team did a great job of bringing that to life. I would have liked to have seen, and sometimes this happens, so all of you, it might benefit all of you. Sometimes the creative idea opens up a question or a space, for example, the minimalist, that we then have to find a trend or a data point to kind of link that. I think you guys could have benefited from that as well. I like the minimalist idea, and I think it goes very well with your creative idea. I would have liked to see that kind of set up a little bit better with the target. Is the target minimalist? Are they interested in this minimalist movement? It's a trend right now. Do we, kind of set it up so that when you bring that creative idea, it all makes sense and connects the dots. I was curious as to how you guys define premium accessible for the beverage. Since you outlined 3 that you considered in the same space, so I was curious as to how you got there as well. And my other question is, can you pay off taste? Taste. So based on your research, and they said, well, it tastes like nothing, or I don't like it, and 10% of your posts will be about taste. So can you, if it is, let's say, the least attractive thing about the target, about the product, do we focus on that and create posts about it? And I'm wondering, can you guys do it justice or convince people against? I mean, if it tastes bad, it tastes bad. Once they taste it, it's like, I don't like it, So those are my 2 questions.
Can I answer the last one? For the taste, it's 10%. Like, if we can go to the content pillars. So this is 30, 30, and this is only 10. So you're right in this idea that it's not our main focus, but we don't want to ignore that there are flavors also to the can. So this is why it's only 10%. It's not the one we're focusing on, but we don't want to ignore the idea that now water is interesting because it also has flavors and all that.
Okay, so these are more about the flavors that Schweppes comes in.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Really, really good presentation. I agree completely with Yadira. You guys took a lot of feedback last week and injected all of it into this week's work, and you can spot the difference. So that makes me very happy. Pointers that came up, and I tend to spend less time on the good stuff and more time on the bad stuff, but that's because it's more constructive. So the first thing is, just when you present these things, always be very mindful of your language. So this brief is a Schweppes sparkling water brief, specifically for sparkling water, yeah? So whenever you reference it, reference the sub-brand in the thing, because it's an enormous company, and you can't make sweeping generalizations about it, because you can't, unless you can absolutely justify all those sweeping generalizations. You know what I mean? And I've been in meetings before where people haven't made that distinction, and a client has been quick to point out to say, oh, well, Johnny Walker's doing well. It's just Johnny Walker Blue Label you know what I mean? If they can be difficult, they will be. So it's just a point about how you use your language. Be as precise as possible when you reference what you're talking about. The other thing, just on the front end, that would have been nice to see is, and I don't want anybody to start changing their presentations now, because with the feedback you give the first team always probably applies to the other 6 teams. But they gave you channels, right? They said, we want an influencer program, we want a social media program, and we want a this and a that. As the experts, which is what you're being hired to be, I think it's always valid to interrogate those channels. There's nothing wrong with coming back and saying, actually, we don't think influencers is, I'm making this up, so you would obviously have to do the research, but we don't think social is the correct channel, or etc. You know what I mean? There's no problem with doing that. And even if you agree with all of those channels, justify why you agree with those channels. Say, yeah, you guys identified these channels and we completely agree because blah, 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 blah. Yeah? Don't just take it at face value. I loved your creative idea, nothing but interesting. I really liked it. And I liked that it connected with the back end of your presentation. It did have a seamless flow, so that felt good. And I thought it was an interesting idea. I also creatively really liked how you had a consistent look and feel. For the most part, maybe the print ads were slightly in a different direction, but for the most part, all of your creative looked like it was coming from the same space. It felt like one coherent campaign. That always makes me happy. I agree with you. Yadira touched on this, and I agree as well. I think when you talked about the influencer program, I think you've got to paint a more vivid picture of how they're going to integrate with the brand and the messaging. So it's fine to identify and say, oh, we think Amy Schumer and whoever. Cool. But then go a step further and sort of help me see into the future as to how that influencer is going to bring the brand to life, even if it's completely made up. But it's just a good trick. I like the KPIs at the end, where you're showing responsibility, saying, if we don't, this is how we're going to measure success, and failure to achieve that is bad. I loved your radio spot. Very witty script, very well written, good work. And then I think my only other point is you guys have brought, I mean, we're going to mix, the teams stay the same this week, I believe, but I think the one after it gets mixed up. But you guys have really brought your work up a big level, a big notch, and that makes me super happy. So the next stage is justifying all the stuff that you have in a presentation. So when you talk about social media, you know, you did research, one of your slides was research about what people think about water and social. Now, being critical, that's a misleading slide. And it's misleading because nobody goes on social to talk about the positive attributes of anything, right? Social media is basically bitch ground, where you can just bitch people out. So if you put that up as research, it's not really research. Do you know what I mean? It's basically telling people the obvious. No one ever went online to say a positive thing about a sparkling water brand. And I think also within that, there's a big question hanging over social in general, because I would argue that this is a low-interest brand, not just because it's Schweppes. Any of them are low-interest brands for the most part. So if they're going to be on social, they need to be really interesting. There aren't that many brands